revolving here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes, Houston, we've had a problem.
Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
Like it kind of? Looks like we're getting better all the time on a hydrogen.
Okay. Yeah.
Seems like the situation is improving. It's not staying down the low range quite as long.
Flight network.
Go ahead.
It appears we've probably lost Net 2 and all of the rest of our comm lines to Madrid at this time.
Madrid, contact Houston, contact Net 1, voice check. Madrid, contact Houston, contact Net 1, voice check. Goddard voice, Houston, contact.
Madrid, Comtech on Net 1.
Roger, read you loud and clear.
Madrid network, Net 1. Madrid network, Net 1.
Roger. Madrid Comtech reads you 1 by at this time.
Roger, Madrid. Would you ask the M&O to configure Net 6 for receipt of commands from MCC?
Madrid Comtech does not copy.
Madrid network, Net 1.
Madrid, contact Houston, contact Net 1, voice check.
Madrid Comtech on Net 1. I read you 5 by. How me?
Roger, read you the same. We have a good circuit.
Madrid Comtech copies.
Madrid network, Net 1.
Madrid.
Roger, would you swap your Net 6 to receive commands from MCC?
Swap Net 6 to receive commands.
Stand by on that, Madrid. Flight network.
Go ahead.
We've got command capability in Madrid, and we've got the air-to-ground voice in Madrid.
Okay. You got all your lines back, or
Negative.
some other mode?
Negative. We're getting data from Guam at this time. Madrid network, Net 1.
Madrid on Net 1.
Roger. You're still configured to receive commands from MCC on Net 4.
That's affirmative.
You are receiving our executes, are you not?
That's affirmative.
Thank you.
span, flight.
Flight span, go ahead.
Hey, Alex stepping out here. Any chance?
Okay. Flight network.
Go ahead.
Roger. The capability that we've lost, that we still do not have from Madrid at this time, is a second line for telemetry data and also a line for biomet data. We are getting biomet from Carnarvon at this time, and we're down to a one format for both GSM and CMC data.
Hey, you got any estimate?
Negative. We're still working with try to come up with an estimate. Flight network.
Go ahead.
We've just gotten that second telemetry circuit from Madrid.
Okay.
Flight network. All of the Madrid circuits are back restored.
Okay.
Got her, boys. Houston, contact Dodge conference. Got her, boys. Houston, contact Dodge conference.
Got her. Got her, boys.
Roger, how do you read?
You're loud and clear.
Roger, read you the same.
FAL, me guidance, smoker die. Slide, Fido.
Go, Fido.
Get another update on the S4B if you're interested.
Okay, stand by. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I got a latitude of 1.90 south. Longitude 28.78 west.
Okay, now it's in decimals instead of minutes, huh?
Well, whatever's easy. I got the other if you
Oh,
want.
that's okay. What about the time?
The time is 775705.
It's almost back where it was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay. ASD might want that in minutes so he can plot it. I don't know.
Okay, the latitude is 54 minutes. The longitude is 47.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, all flight controllers, we're coming up about a half an hour prior to wake up. I'll be coming around in another 4 or 5 minutes and we'll discuss what we're going to update the crew here when we wake them up. So if you got anything, let's pull it all together. Okay, all flight controllers, give me an amber light. Make sure you're with me. Fido, amber.
Flight Fighter.
Give me an amber light. Just want to make sure you're with me. Yeah, you got one. Okay, I'm going to go over here with each position. We'll go over what we're going to have to update the crew with when we wake them up. We'll start down with retro. I guess you've got a pad update for the 60-hour abort.
That's right.
T-37 pad. Have you given that to Capcom?
No, Flight Fighter's taking in a new deck here, and I'd like to regenerate my pad and get out a new one on its latest factory. I've already generated my data. It's just a matter of filling it out. A few minutes.
Okay.
So we plan to update the recovery area for the liftoff plus 60.
Okay. Capcom, this is 60-hour abort landing area moved because of weather. We targeted it to 153 west.
Right, she explained it.
Okay.
Nothing else here, Flight.
Okay. Okay, Fido flight. Anything from you that we need to update to her?
Negative, Flight.
Okay. Fido, how about you?
That's negative. We watched T-52, and that's about it for a while. As far as CNN is concerned.
Okay.
Right. We do have one update, but we don't want to do that until after the 52's over. And all that is getting his paperwork in order. His onboard list of erasable contents. But
Yeah, there is one update required there.
right, but UNCs want to make sure that those are still correct, so we'll wait till after the 52 before we can tell him. And there's nothing time critical about that at all.
Right. GNC flight. GNC flight.
Go ahead, Flight.
Okay, anything from you?
We have a consumables update, which I have given our portion to Ecom. I think he said he was about done, and a 52, and that's it.
Okay, and Ecom, you got the consumables pad?
Flight, we would like to wait until he does his morning stir before we put out the cryogenic quantities. But that's all we need to do. The other thing we've got is that we'd like to have him turn off H2 tank 2 heaters for a little while.
Okay, you want them to do that after they stir?
It doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but it'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, what we want to do there, Capcom, is turn off tank 2, leave tank 1 on, and see if we can't get that pressure regulated a little higher using the H2 tank for control. We've been riding very close to the MC and W limit. We want to kind of check this configuration out for tonight's sleep period, primarily.
Okay.
And after Ecom's had enough chance to look at it, if it really does work and does keep us a little further away from the limit, then we'll probably go back to a tank 2 heater on, tank 1 off, and that'll create an imbalance that tonight will fix up by going the other way. Is that right, Ecom?
That's exactly right.
I don't think you have to go into all that with them. Just tell them that we want to try to control the pressure with tank 1 for a while to see if we can get it a little higher, so that we almost had to wake them up a couple of times. Okay. Okay, Capcom, we're going to have a flight plan update. I think you probably already got a copy of that, haven't you?
That's fun. I got a copy of it. I guess all I need is a go for it.
Okay.
I'm ready to pass it up.
Now, the procedure right down there at the end is still being formalized back in the back. They've already got the procedure for, in fact, they've deltaed the activation checklist to take care of looking at the shoe gauge. And that's all done. And you'll have a copy of that soon. I don't think it's necessary that you give them all of that right away anyway. But we'll delta the activation checklist for you. And that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Okay. I've got another flight plan update on the looking for Bennett.
Right. Through the scanning telescope. Okay? Okay, that's about it, isn't it? PAO's got some news for you here if you want to read them some news when you get some time.
Okay.
Okay, Inco flight.
Flight Inco.
I guess the crew is off of the comm, so we're going to have to send crew alert to wake them up, right?
If they wake up first, they'll turn on the air-to-ground subcarrier and I'll configure the ground system, so we'll have it right away. If we want to wake them up before they wake up, we do.
Okay, so Capcom, we're going to have to, you won't be able to call them to wake them up, we'll have to send them crew alert if they're not awake already.
I was going to say, the commander's awake now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, by our data anyway.
He hasn't turned on the voice subcarrier yet. We're not in an uplink mode for voice at this time, too, so you have to notify us when you want to go voice uplink.
Okay. You better be kind of ready to do that anytime.
Raj.
Okay, Sergeant, anything else from you?
No, or just do the morning crew status, which I assume they're going to give us. We think that Jim had about 8 hours of sleep. Let's see how that compares with his estimate.
Okay. And we'll be looking for a report of the LEM CM Delta P2, so it'll be a little bit after wake up. Okay, anybody else got an FAO? You got anything else for them?
No, Frank, I think you touched on the 2 updates that we've got for them. GNC is requesting that we include back the second P-52, and we're going to add that to the update and the flight plan to be done after they go back in the PTC after the LEM familiarization area. This is so you can get a check on his update on the Gyro grid.
Okay, there wasn't one scheduled there before, huh?
There was one scheduled before MCC3, and we had stuck that in the flight plan update. And we just talked to him, and we'd like to get that one back in, so
Okay.
we'll add it back.
We got little enough to do today, I imagine. They won't run to that at all. Okay, I'll tag up with you when we get the procedure for the back end on the sheet tank. We'll make sure that's in the right format for Joe to handle.
Okay, and we've been cross-checking the update to make sure that we've got everything in there. Right now, it's okay.
Okay.
Flight Inco.
So,
We're in a voice uplink mode now. Anytime the crew calls, we'll be ready to talk to them.
okay. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Okay, we'll stand by here to wake them up a little while.
Flight network.
Go ahead.
I guess since it looks like the crew's getting up, we'll take the Vogas out of the circuit.
Okay. FAL flight.
Go, flight.
Have you got copies of the flight plan update for the other consoles other than Capcom? I don't think anybody else has got one.
I had some copies here, and I was going to distribute them as soon as we get verified.
Okay. Everybody needs to.
Houston,
Okay.
Apollo 13, over.
Good morning, 13. You're early.
So I just thought we'd wake you up, and we're awake and getting the spacecraft ship shape and seaman light.
Roger, the spacecraft's in real good shape as far as we're concerned, Jim. We're bored to tears down here. We do have a few little items for you, like a P-37 update and a couple of flight plan updates, but there's no rush about them. Over.
Okay, I think if we get in a few minutes, we'll bring out some food, and we'll copy them then.
Okay, and Surgeon will be ready for your sleep report whenever you get that together.
Right, he's listening. LMP had a solid 9 hours of sleep. I couldn't wake them up this morning. CMP had 6 hours, and the commander about 5 intermittent. Jack's dosimeter is reading the 02026.
Okay, we got it.
Sure looks like it.
And it might be interesting that just after we went to sleep last night, we had a master alarm, and it really scared us. And we were all over the cockpit like a wet noodle.
Sorry it wasn't something more significant. I've also got a procedure for you on that H2 tank. Simple thing after you get done stirring up the cryos.
Okay.
He found that master alarm, is that a hydrogen?
Yeah, it was a hydrogen pressure. Tank. It was tank 1.
Yeah, that's right. They'd already unplugged from comm.
Yeah, I think it was about an hour or so after, 2 hours after we sleep, or after the sleep period began.
Right. Capcom, I guess one thing we need to inform too is there won't be an MCC3. Okay. Okay, all flight controllers, you can go back green on the status lights. Makes me feel better.
Beautiful. What was it?
A little with their eyes on the star for wake up.
Sounds like all the comforts at home. Have you guys got a flower on your breakfast table?
Yeah, Jack.
Plenty, huh?
Go, Ecom.
It appears we've lost our O2 tank 2 quantity measure. And it's failed. It's the one that it felt like there may be a problem with pre-flight, and it's failed in the direction that this problem, it felt like this problem would give us. Although that may not be the case, but it appears to fail off scale high.
When did this happen?
46:45, thereabouts. They stirred about the time they, or just before they called us, and it was kind of noisy there. The data was, so I couldn't tell, but when we got solid data, it was gone.
Flight Shadow.
Go ahead.
We've been looking at the vector on board and the flight plan. There was originally a vector update scheduled at 54 hours.
Right.
And that's all in conjunction with mid-course 3. With the deletion of mid-course 3, we'd like to get a vector now. It's okay with you? Okay.
Wait till I call it back.
it confirms our reading, I'd like to try showing that stuff up in there a little bit.
Let's see if we can get the transducer done.
Yeah, I don't see it have much to lose trying it.
Yeah, we can try that. We'll wait till they call us, though. There's no real rush, is it?
No, not at all.
Flight network.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it'd help us if we could find out when we're going to have the TV tonight, whether it's going to be at 55 hours or 58 hours, so we can get the TV line squared away.
Scheduled right now for 55, unless for some reason it was a slip. Unbeknownst to me right now, but it's scheduled for 55 hours.
Okay, we'll reserve the time then for 55 hours and cancel the one that was in for 58.
Is there any need that you have to cancel it right now, since you wait a while?
Well, we can wait, but naturally we prefer to do it as soon as we can.
Okay, we're changing the flight plan to schedule it at 55. I would think that you might want to hold on to the other time for a while, just to make sure that there's no changes, unless you have to call it back up again.
Okay.
Flight procedures?
Go ahead.
Yeah, on the worksheets, we've just changed the time to go out to the site from 55 to 55:30 for the TV track.
Okay. They IVT the lamb at 55, and TV will be about, 30 minutes later?
55 to 55:30 is the time frame.
Oh, is that it? Okay. I guess as soon as they get it, oh, that's right, they've got to clear the camera with it. Okay. It is 55 hours, Dave.
Okay.
Span flight.
Flight span, go ahead.
How are you doing with that procedure?
Flight, we got the first part is for the checklist change for the crew to turn on what that crew has to do to read out the sheet pressure. That's over at building 45 for concurrence now. The second part is over there also on a separate kit that says what we got to do if the pressure is over 800 psi, and we got to bring up telemetry. The third part is the actual procedure for lighting the engine and venting it, and Grumman is writing that up, and they're supposedly going to be a couple hours on that yet because they're waiting for an airplane to come in, bringing some people in. Everybody's a little shaky on that one.
Okay.
But the first two parts are in the mill, and we should have them back here within, I'd say, 30 minutes or so.
Okay. Capcom flight.
Go flight.
Joe, one of the things I'm not sure I made clear to you, since we're not going to do MCC3, we can go ahead and update his state vector anytime, and probably the sooner the better. So when you get a chance to look it in, if we can get poo and accept, we'll give him a new state vector.
Okay, roger that.
Houston, Apollo 13, over.
13 Houston, go ahead. This is Houston, go.
Roger, Joe, we're standing by for that P-37 flight data if you have it for us.
Okay, got it right here, Jim, and it follows. This is the P-37 pad for liftoff plus 60. The reason for the update is for weather avoidance in the MPL at 119 hours. Same as the one we passed you yesterday, and it's the same weather, but we still don't expect a problem at the end of the mission.
Yes, when the crew goes down to do the P-52
at
49 hours.
Delta VT,
before he takes the up out of the zero mode, I'd like for him to observe
longitude minus 153, GET 400K,
counter
11804.
Movement of
Over.
counter.
Just look at it?
Just look at it to see if we're getting the same indications on that.
GETI of 06000. 6079 minus 153 11804.
Roger, that's correct. I've got a consumables update for you, Jim, if you're ready for that.
Ready, copy.
Okay, as of 47 hours, RCS total 1096, Quad Alpha 270, Bravo 278, Charlie 270, Delta 278. And the H2, they gave me the H2s in percent, 76%. And on the O2 we have 81%. However, we show the O2 tank 2 reading off scale high now. We're quite sure it's a sensor failure. We'd like you to verify it with your onboard reading.
Okay, stand by. Joe, we confirm our gauge reading is the number 202 tank is reading off scale high now, but Jack just told me it was okay when he first looked at it this morning.
We verify that. At 46:45 we had 82%, and apparently when he stirred the cryos, the sensor broke.
Okay.
So it's no problem. You're above nominal on all your consumables. On the H2 tank problem, we have a procedure that we'd like you to carry out, which is simply turning the H2 tank 2 heaters to off at this time, and we want to see whether that won't solve the problem of the tank pressure setting off caution and warning. We want to look at it that way for a few hours.
Okay, you want both H2 tank heaters to off, is that correct?
That's negative. Just tank 2. We want tank 1 to stay in auto.
Okay, tank 2 heaters off at this time.
Okay, good deal. That's been the high tank, and apparently while waiting for that pressure switch to close to start the heater cycle, the tank 1 pressure has been dropping even a little bit lower and just setting off caution and warning. So we feel that if we turn off the tank 2 heater and let tank 1 activate the heater cycle, we won't get into the caution and warning range.
Roger.
Okay, Jim, at your convenience, we'd like poo and accept. We're ready to uplink you state vector now, since we will not do mid-course 3. Over.
Roger, you're in poo and accept, no mid-course 3, and we're all set for a state vector update. I'll give you the LEPC of Delta P here shortly.
Okay, good deal. And I have flight plan updates for you later, at your convenience.
Houston, Apollo 13, the LEM CM Delta P is 1.0 PSI.
Copy 1.0, Jim.
Okay, Capcom flight, when they start to do the P-52, we're noticing before he comes out of optic 0,
Roger.
we'd like for him to look at the little counter on the shaft.
Right.
And see if he sees the same little jitter on CM that we do. It's,
Right. While he's in optic 0.
we don't think that's a big problem. We saw the same similar thing on 12, but we want to verify that we're seeing the same thing.
Okay, we've been asked to do one more thing flight, which sounds reasonable. That's called a Verb 16-991, which will read out the shaft and trunnion on the disky as well at the same time.
1691?
Roger.
Right,
About
guys.
2 cents of a degree, up and down, random.
Go, guys.
No, stand by, second.
Houston, the 13, we're ready for any flight plan updates that you have.
Okay, 13. To start off with, I've got a minor procedural change for Jack on his next P-52, if he's ready to listen to that.
Okay, Jack's still off comm. We'll hold off on that a little bit, and then we'll pick it up when he gets on comm.
Okay, fine. I've got 2 updates for you, Jim. One is a procedure for looking for Comet Bennett at about 49:45, and I'll wait till Jack gets up before passing you the details on that. The other update is concerned with going into the limb 3 hours early, and I think Vance mentioned to you last night that this was a possibility, that we'd like to look at the sheet tank pressure early, and since we're not going to do mid-course 3, we'd like limb entry at 55 hours. Is that okay with you?
Okay, well, right, that's fine with us. We'll move up limb entry to 55 hours.
Okay, I've got some details on the flight plan for you as follows. Of course, since there's no MCC3, you'll be deleting all the mid-course 3 stuff, including the P-52, which is called out at about 54 and a half, and we'll be slipping that until later, which I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, then we want to move the battery charge up 3 hours to about 52:30. And we want to moving the LEM tunnel vent valve to LEM CM Delta P up 3 hours to 52:45. And at that point, you can simply go to the 57-hour point in the flight plan, change the number from 57 hours to 54 hours, and start through that. In the remarks session, at about 57:50, it says O2 fuel cell purge and wastewater dump here if not performed earlier. We want you to do that at 54 hours and 50 minutes. The TV pass then will be at 55 hours to 55:30. You'll go right through the Houston.
Stand by, Capcom. We've got LOS.
Flight Arco, we don't have voice. It'll be a minute. We don't have voice. It'll be a minute.
Go ahead. Go for command, CSM.
13 Houston, you back with us?
Not yet, fine. Stand by. Joe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the jet link rate 0.014. That's brown.
Apollo 13 Houston, are you back with us?
We're back with you. We're back with you.
I've gone through the battery charge, the LEM vent valve, the fuel cell purge, and then stop PTC at 55 hours, and your roll attitude there will be 285 degrees, which is per the flight plan. The high gain antenna angles are slightly different. Pitch 2-3 and yaw 267 degrees. The TV pass till 55:30. The standard LEM activation, except for some special steps we'll give you to take a look at sheet tank pressure, which I don't have yet. Restart PTC at about 56:30, or whenever you're through with the LEM activities. And after that, at your convenience, we'd like you to do the P52 option 3 that we canceled at 54 and a half hours. Over.
Okay, our last comment was we'll do the P52 after we start PTC at about 56:30.
That's right. Any time after that, it's not time critical.
Okay, let's see if I have around 2:30. We're going to do a battery charge on battery B.
That's correct.
And then about 52:40, we're going to do the LEM tunnel vent valve, LEM CFW, which is been written up at 55:40.
That's correct.
We're the leading mid-course 3. And we've moved up LEM entry to 55 hours. So we'll merely follow all the procedure that leads up to LEM entry that was originally scheduled for 58.
That's correct. You can start at 57 in the flight plan, call it 54 hours, and press right on.
Okay, then whenever we're finished with the lamp, which we anticipate around 56:30, we'll commence PTC, and sometime after that we'll do a P52.
That's affirmative. Did you copy the new high gain angles for 55 hours?
Okay, we're going to stop the PTC for LEM entry. We're going to stop the PTC for LEM entry at roll 285, and the high gain angles are pitch 23 and yaw 267.
That's correct, Jim.
We're through with the computer.
And 13 Houston, the computer is yours.
Okay, and Capcom, one additional thing.
Computer's ours, we're in block, and exactly when do you want the TV to be cranked up?
You can crank it up. Sometime prior to 55 hours. At your convenience, just to set it up. We'll be expecting transmission at 55 hours.
Okay.
Recon flight. You want to stir O2 tank 2 now?
Roger.
I'd like to stir O2 tank 2 again, see if it might recover it.
I'd like to get that optics thing up to, jumping at 52.
Okay, we're going to have to wait till Jack gets on comm. We told him we had some things for him before he does his 52,
Oh, okay.
but we had to wait till he was over in town.
I missed that. Okay.
And Houston, Apollo 13, one thing I missed, how about the O2 fuel cell purge and wastewater dump?
Roger that. We'd like the O2 fuel cell purge and wastewater dump at 5450.
Roger, we'll do both those items at 5450.
Apollo 13, Houston.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right, Jack. One thing we'd like to have done sometime soon is to have you cycle the cryo fans in O2 tank 2 one more time. I'd like to see if we can get that sensor back.
Okay, go on. O2 tank 2 fan on now.
Roger.
Econ flight.
Flight econ.
How long you want to run the fan?
Oh, 4 or 5 minutes. Yes,
Okay,
we haven't had it up so far.
make sure to call it out when you run it off.
Right.
Houston 13.
Go 13.
We have just one question. The lamp tunnel vent valve, we're questioning why we're venting until the delta P is greater than 1.7, and we're going to open up the tunnel and pressurize the lamp here shortly.
Right, stand by on that.
So,
The reason we're doing that is to ensure the proper O2 percentage in the limb at
55 hours?
not at
55 hours?
No, not at 55 hours, but when they get to the surface, depressurization. And this is the technique we use to do it.
Okay, it's the oxygen enrichment. Right?
Right.
13, Houston.
Go ahead.
Roger, the word on that, Jim, is that they want to ensure the proper O2 concentration in the limb when you get to the surface, and this is a method of doing that by bleeding out additional nitrogen.
Okay, thank you.
And 13, Houston, if Jack is up, I'd like to talk to him about the P-52 briefly.
Okay, he's here. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, Jack. What they'd like you to do on this P-52 at 49 hours, they've been observing a slight jitter in the optics shaft angle of about 0.2 degrees plus or minus. Before you come out of the optic zero position at the start of this P-52, they'd like you to just observe the shaft readout and see if the jitter occurs on your direct readout there, and also they'd like you to briefly call up a Verb 16 now 91 so we can look at the shaft to trunnion angles.
Okay, let's see if I got it right. On the P-52, it's 49 hours. Before coming out of zero on the optic, observe the shaft and also call up 1691. Let you look at the shaft and trunnion angles to observe whether it occurs whether zero position as well as out of zero.
Roger, Jack, that's correct. And if you have time now, I've got a flight plan update for you on looking for the Comet Bennett.
Okay. Stand by one, Joe, and the commander's going off the air briefly.
Roger that. Jack, I'm going to read it to you and then add some comments. Talk about it a little. This should occur sometime after 49:30. After the P52 realign at 49 hours, if time permits, we would like the crew to investigate while in PTC if there is a roll angle in which the comet can be observed for photos. If there is, record the optimum roll angle for possible photography prior to reinitiating PTC at 56:30 or so, whenever the guys are done in the limb. Use P52, planet option, and the following half-unit vectors for tracking Comet Bennett at about 49:46. Are you ready to copy half-unit vectors over?
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, R1 plus 3.302, R2 minus decimal 07374, R3 plus decimal 35719. Read back.
Okay, copy R1 plus 34202, R2 minus 07374, R3 plus 35719.
Okay, that's correct. And the last sentence on the update is AOS of the Comet at a roll of 45 degrees and LOS at a roll of 155 degrees. Now the deal here, Jack, according to the plot they showed me, is the comet appears to be about 10 degrees away from the sun, and due to the geometry of the limb there shadowing the sun, it would appear that you will be able to see the comet through the sextant without getting sun shafting between roll angles of about 45 degrees and 75 degrees. It appears that as your roll gets higher than 75 degrees, although the comet is still in the field of view, the sun is also in the field of view, and you probably will not have any success between 75 and 155 if you haven't got it from 45 to 75. If you do find that you can see the comet somewhere between 45 and 75 or 80 degrees, just note that roll angle, and then if it's feasible, we'd like you to photograph it. After the limb entry part of the checklist. Over.
Okay, Joe, let me give it back to you, see if I've got it here. After the P52, during our PTC, you want us to use P52 and observe Bennett's comet through the second. No roll angle, and the roll angle is visible. It should be visible somewhere between 45 and 75 degrees. And we should lose it at about 155 roll. And if we do see it, make an observation of whether it is photographable. Note the roll angle for photographs to be taken after or prior to the initiation of PTC at 5630.
That's exactly right, Jack.
Okay, real fine.
Mike, this is Eddie.
Go.
We'd like you to also include on that if you would give us a hack when you think he's got the optimum roll, or if not, if he requires switching off. Because we need to know when he's there so we can be ready for the next place. If he's not in the right switching off, then it's going to be rather difficult because we got to set up the PTC.
Okay, I think he'll tell us that. Why can't we just, when he tells us what, well, you're afraid that he may get out later then, huh? I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, if he tells us there's an optimum roll when he gets there, fine, but if he just records it to me, we don't know. We want to watch the road pitching on and get blood track. He doesn't know. He doesn't tell us that we can't know exactly what to do. Good job.
Okay, actually what you're saying is you need all three attitudes when you can see it.
Right, but if he can give us some more, we can copy it off it.
Capcom, you copy that? When if he does think when he gets to a point where he thinks the comet is photographable, what we really need to know is we either need to have a mark so we can read all three attitudes for him, or when he notes his roll angle, since he is in a cone, he's coning pretty good on this PTC, we need to know his pitch and yaw angle as well, so that we can tell him if he goes back to where he was. Yes. Yes.
Fine.
Go ahead.
We're ready to turn off the fan in tank 2.
Okay. Let's do tank 2 fan off.
Apollo 13, Houston. Apollo 13, Houston. Apollo 13, Houston.
Go ahead, Joe.
We're ready to have the O2 tank 2 fan off, and thank you.
Doesn't look like we got it back, huh?
No, it doesn't, Jack.
Econ flight.
Flight econ.
You seen any H2 cycles yet in this new configuration?
Well, it hit bottom one time, and the heaters are on now. You really can't tell much about the first one because they probably had to get the system in configuration. But we should be we should be able to tell from here on.
When you say it hit bottom, where did it activate?
It got down to 224.2, and we had a master alarm about that time, but it could have been a high voltage low. It occurred at the time of the accumulator cycle, and we had low bit rate, so I couldn't tell.
Okay.
Flight Ginseng.
Go ahead.
Okay, based upon the actions of the crew this morning, the PTC was probably extended out to something like 24 degrees total cone angle. Unless we get some more major perturbations, we should be able to make it 54, 50 time with some degrees to spare there. But it is expanding, yes.
Econ flight.
Flight is fine.
I missed the heater cycle there. When did it activate this time? Was it? I guess it never has gone back in again, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The fact is, I'm not even sure the heaters have gone off yet. It's going to be a lot slower now. I think the heaters are still on in that flight. Flight is time.
Go ahead.
A word for the crew on this O2 Tank 2 quantity sensor. For their own benefit, they can assume, unless notified otherwise, that Tank 2 quantity is within 3 or 4% of Tank 1. Probably even closer. One thing we will probably request them to do is a little more frequent fan cycles so that we can keep a better hack on what the quantity is in tank 1, and also be sure that we don't have excessive stratification, which is what we know about tanks.
Okay.
And I think that for the time being, that's about all I can tell them.
Okay, should stay within somewhere around 3% of tank 1, and we'll probably ask for a few more fan cycles to keep the engagement tightly under our eye.
Right.
Okay. Joe, you can work that in when you convenient.
Okay, I guess maybe the next time we want them to stir it, we could we could pass on that extra comment.
Okay. All right, that'd be fine. I'm not talking about, every hour or so. I'm talking about maybe every 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Flight Fido.
Go ahead.
On the S4B, another latitude, longitude.
Go ahead.
Latitude 2.31. Longitude 28.83. Time of impact 775705.
Thank you.
They were all one on top of the other.
Flight procedures, we're going to have a checkpoint here. AFD recovery, my loop.
Flight GNC.
Go ahead.
Flight procedures, checkpoint complete.
GNC flight. GNC flight.
Go, Mike.
Okay, my parting shot here. Somebody in your area ought to be looking at this contingency dot bits burp of the engine in case the sheet pressure is too high. Hit control modes and things like that from the CSM. They're talking about if we ever had to do that, it would be a CSM ullage with a -6 jet. And then you're going to have to do some fancy footwork there to get to maintain some attitude control, but you don't want to be firing all of the CSM jets while the dot dips is running. Somebody ought to be looking at that. I would suggest that you get somebody back in the spin area with these guys that are working on the detailed procedure.
Okay, all flight controllers, have you, anybody who has not completed their shift handover, give me an amber. Okay, as soon as you complete it, give me a green, and I got about 13 items we'll probably be working on during the shift here. And I'll give you those to start with, give you about 15 minutes to think about them, and then we'll go around and get a shift status. guidance from flight.
Go ahead, flight.
Just to save a bit of time, once I go around the horn and give out all these neat action items, I'd like you to get your CMC support in the back room doing a bit of work. I'd like him to, during the process of this shift, during the course of the shift, write up some kind of a note of interest and all those things we can do to collapse the deadband when we're in PTC.
Roger.
You're familiar with what I'm asking for here, aren't you?
Roger, it's already done. It's made here in a couple of minutes.
Great.
Flight GNC.
Go GNC.
Okay, he's pulled up verb 16991 on the Disky now for our request.
Okay.
Hey, 13 Houston, go ahead.
Okay, Joe, P-52 here. I've proceeded on option 3, and on the 5025 display, I call it 1691. I'm going to let you observe the shaft angle while the optics are still at 0.
Okay, roger that, Jack. We're looking at it, and I'll give you a mark soon as GNC is happy.
Okay, real fine.
And Flight Capcom, I'm waiting for GNC to...
Say again, Capcom?
I'm waiting for GNC to tell me that Jack can proceed on this P-52. GNC wants to look at verb 16991 for a while, which is up now.
Right.
Would like to get his TPAC report now, Flight, if we could.
Can you give us a readout on the TPAC, Capcom?
On the what?
TPAC.
His counter.
Oh, roger. 13 Houston, Jack, could you give us a readout on your counter now?
Okay, I'm showing a shaft of 0.2 and a trunnion of 359.92.
Roger, copy that. Is there any jumping around in the shaft?
On the TPAC readout?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it went from 0.2 to 0.21.
Okay, copy that. Stand by one.
Okay, now it went down. It went down as low as 0.15.
Okay. Okay.
GNC, let me know when you see enough data there. How long do you estimate? GNC, how long do you want to keep watching this 1691?
Just a couple more minutes, Flight.
Okay.
Jack, Houston, let us watch that for another minute or so.
Okay, no hurry. It looks like it's burned between 0.14 and 0.8 with occasional spikes up to 0.2.
Flight GNC.
Calling flight, say again.
Right, this is GNC. Let's press on.
Okay, Capcom, he can press on with his P-52 now.
Roger, flight.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Okay, those shaft oscillations then are the same thing are very similar to the ones we saw on 12. They're an annoyance factor for those on the ground watching it, and to keep the system from degrading, probably when not in use, we'll be turning the optics off.
Okay. As opposed to optics 0, right?
Well, with optics in 0, but turning the power off the optics.
Yeah.
Hey, Houston, are we clear to park? Are you reading the parking angle?
Guidance, you happy with the parking angle?
Check, stand by.
Roger, flight.
You're clear of them to torque, right?
That's firm.
Let's go, Capcom.
13 Houston, go ahead and start.
Okay, time of parking will be 49 hours, 8 minutes, 35 seconds.
Roger that.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Okay, since we're in a little bit, just about the time he called it up, could we get him to read us the star angle difference he had on that 52?
Okay. I don't understand your question. Stand by one. What do you want now, GNC?
The star angle difference
Okay.
out of the 52.
I thought you got it.
Negative flight, we didn't see it because of
Okay, Capcom, can you get us a star angle difference, please, on that 52?
Roger, flight Alaska. Follow 13 Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Roger, for Jack, we missed the star angle difference on the P-52. Could you read us that?
Roger, Houston, with all balls.
Okay, thank you.
Copy, flight.
Roger, copy. GNC, have you completed handover yet? Okay. GNC from flight. GNC? GNC. Raj, just to confirm what Bill gave me, the optics jitter you're seeing is the same as we saw on Apollo 12. You don't feel it's a problem. Your recommended procedure is when you're not using the optics, turn the optics 0 switch to off, right?
The optics power off, right?
Got that answer for me at GNC?
Affirmative flight, it is the optics power switch we want off.
Optics power off, okay. Capcom flight.
Go flight.
Raj, you can advise the crew that this optics jitter we've seen is the same as we saw on Apollo 12. We don't feel it's a problem. We do request when they're not using the optics to turn the optics power switch off.
Optics powered off.
Okay, and as soon as we get that up, Capcom, you can hold that. We might have 2, 3 other items after we finish tagging up here and just get it all across in one transmission. There's several of them. Why don't you just make a note for yourself on that?
Right.
Okay, all flight controllers, I'd like to go around the horn and make sure we got a good tag up prior to beginning the shift there. Let's start with you, Retro.
I don't have any problem, Flight.
How about the weather and from a standpoint of your return to Earth targeting, what you through the 65-hour abort time yet, and have you got satisfactory targets?
We have one remaining P-37 maneuver on board. It's the 60-hour abort, and it was updated for weather avoidance. In addition to that, we have the flyby maneuver on board, and there's no problem with it.
Okay.
So we don't owe anything, and we're in good shape here.
Roger. How about you, Fido?
Okay, flight, we've already scrubbed mid-course 3. We're looking at a very small mid-course 4 at the moment, probably you can say of 0. The trajectory is very well behaved. We're coming essentially right in at the paracenting that we targeted for at mid-course 2. We're keeping track of the S4B. And I guess that's about it.
Okay, have you been tagged up with on this sheep problem, and have you nailed down some rough maneuver time that you'd use to get that 45-second burn?
No, I guess what I was going to do is have probably between you and control, and I would decide when would be the time they could conveniently do it. And once you give me a time, I'll compute the attitude that least affects us or helps us out, whichever the case will be.
Okay, well, why don't we see if you don't have anything else major running, Fido, why don't you see if you can get a gross time and just assume that it's in the 1,000 PSI case where we want to make that maneuver and see if we can get a gross time from control.
Okay, we'll pursue that a little bit and chase that. That's about all I got, Frank.
Okay. Okay, how about you, guidance? Guidance from flight.
Go ahead, Frank.
Raj, Will, you got anything major you want to bring up here at this tag-up?
We have one thing that needs to be updated in the onboard erasable load, and that's NVDX, Y, and Z terms. And I've got a pad made up on it. It's ready to go.
You going to have the crew do that for you?
Say again?
You going to have the crew do that, or are you going to do it?
This is just to update their onboard erasable load. We've already updated.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, you were holding off that until the completion of the P-52, right?
Right.
Okay. And you have the pad made up. That's an update on page G9-2 or 9.2 of the crew checklist.
Affirm, it's column A, 11-7-13.
Okay, why don't you give that to Capcom when you get it, and I'll close that item out for this shift.
Flight span.
Go span.
The time for that dips burn would be 60 hours GET.
Okay, about 60 hours GET. Thank you. Did you copy that, Fido?
Copy, flight.
How about you, FAO? You copy too? FAO comply?
Go, flight.
I assume you copied that if we did make that dips burn, that's the worst case on the SHE, that we'd want to make it around 60 hours ground elapsed time?
Right, flight.
Okay. Okay, GNC, how you doing?
Okay, the problem we're working on right now, Flight, is to find out what the total cost to us would be to do that depth burn.
Okay.
In the order of 5 pounds RCS for the always maneuver, plus whatever it takes to stop PTC, start it up again maneuver.
Okay, I assume you're looking at how you intend to control that burn?
That's for
what your programs you want to be in for monitoring the burn, all that jazz, right?
That's indeed.
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, the optics jitter is closed out. The update to the crew checklist and the IRIG drift, the NBD X, Y, and Z terms is closed out. We've got the note of interest in things that collapse the deadband, and sometime this evening I'd just like to review that particular note that Jack Garman brought in briefly. That's a low priority type item. And also I'd like to take a look at some of the records for the mid-course 2 burn on the SPS if you've got some time. That's low priority also.
Right.
And I think that's all I've got for you this shift.
Okay, Flight, on the NBD update, we've had the 1P52 since that was done, but that included the burn. So the next P52 will get a better handle on
okay. But at the present time, you are updating the onboard crew erasable parameters, right? I believe guidance just gave Capcom a pad in those parameters.
Yes.
Okay. Seconds. Okay, the only other item you owe me is a change of shift. Consumable stuff.
Right. Off the top of my head here, it looks like a 40-pound surplus of RCS, but we'll pull it all together.
Okay, as soon as you get that pulled together, I'll be happy. How about you, Ecom?
Well, looks like we've got a H2 cryo MCW problem associated with tank 1, where the ultimate goal is to get ourselves in a good posture for sleep, and I'm working the plan up for that. We pretty much know what we want to do. We're just watching it now. Presently, the tank configuration is tank 1 heaters auto, tank 2 off. We're trying to find out where the bottom activation point on tank 1 is. It looks good. At channel 21, it shows it about 234.5, and I think that's what we're looking for. The other problem we have is that the O2 tank 2 quantity transducer failed off scale high. Span tells me that this is associated with an open. It possibly is associated with the pre-launch problem we have with O2 tank 2. It felt there was a danger of a short there, and it could have blown the transistor open, and this would give us this indication. We'll be tracking the quantity using PT calculations and associating and comparing the tank 2 pressure cycles with the tank 1 pressure cycles and quantity decrease. We ought to be able to keep a good hack on what tank 2 really has in it.
Okay, even if you lost either your P or T on tank 2, you still wouldn't sweat it, would you?
That's negative point.
Is that negative or affirmative?
We would not sweat it, that's right.
That's affirmative, thank you.
Okay, let me see. So we're chasing that. Fuel cell 3 TCE. Apparently it did the same sort of thing we saw it do on Apollo 11, kind of as a function of the MCC2 burn. The TCE started oscillating total amplitude peak to peak of 10 degrees, and it damped itself out when we, after about 9 hours, and we're back to the little hiccup about every 80 seconds again. I have no explanation for this, but there's just nothing we need to do about it. It's not detrimental, apparently.
Well, the only problem you got, and it looks like you got a pretty good handle on it, is if it does start tripping MC and W limits, you just reconfigure your fuel cells and the buses, right?
Well, we could purge, right? Try a short purge. We tried that, incidentally, on Apollo 11 to shock it. And we could go on back and see just what kind of purge procedure we use. I think they're very short, and maybe modify that a little bit to try to do something a little different first.
You'd prefer to do that coming up on the sleep period? No, I agree, as long as the crew's awake. But going in the sleep period, if you got that problem, would not you configure the buses? Or would you?
I don't think that would help that much. I think the difference in current, I was told was only about 2 amps. So I'm not sure that would make that much difference.
Okay, I'm
going to evaluate all that.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. It looks like we got a pretty tight limb. The last delta P reading was plus 1 PSID, and we'll probably have to vent it down to 1.7 at the appropriate time. The tunnel vent valve.
Okay.
Which is pretty much what we did last mission. Just as little extra goodies, I read in the log that the body water tank transducer fluctuates again from pretty much off-scale high readout. And it does, and it looked like the crew was taking water about the same time. Kind of looks like this thing gets a set in it, sitting there full for so long, and then it goes crazy for a couple of minutes when they take water out of it, and then it settles back out. So again, that's no problem.
Okay.
Note of interest appears the CO2 partial pressure transducer is working. First time in a long time. Shows a pretty positive indication of the lithium hydroxide canister change. And I think that's all I got, Flight.
How about suit pressure? Is that still biased at about 8/10 low?
That's from Flight. 5-1 against 4.3.
Any other instrumentation funnies?
Not that I'm aware at this time, Flight.
Okay. Stand by one. Let me just go through the notes. Okay. I think you caught everything. Yeah, I assume you're still open and getting that hot thermal attitude data from the span.
I've got it. I haven't looked at it.
Okay, good. Things are coming along. I think that's closed out all your items.
Roger, Flight.
Capcom, you got anything open here?
Flight, the only thing I have is the note to the crew on the optics jitter, update to the onboard erasable memory. We'll tell the crew not to sweat the O2 tank quantity the next time we call them for a pressure, for a fan cycle.
Roger.
And, of course, that's the new sheet procedure whenever you want it up.
Yeah, what we'll do there, I want to get together and probably be good get you, I, Span, and probably the LEM control guy together. And then we'll review the whole thing as a team in around 51 hours once we get the Capcom changed.
All right.
And I think the only major open item there is talking about the CSM configuration for that burn if we have to make it.
Understand.
Surgeon, how you doing?
Go Flight.
Raj, how you doing down there?
Great. We got a clean bill of health, Gene. We have nothing remarkable here. The crew have had adequate rest, no medications, no illness. We're just completely clean.
Hey, if I fill out this rubella questionnaire and I say I haven't had it, am I going to get thrown out of the control center?
No.
Okay.
It's just information.
I just want to play it safe.
Yes, sir. Understand. Okay, Flight.
Tell me what answers I should fill in there, and I'll do it.
Okay, I'll be up to your console in a minute.
Okay. How about you, Enco?
Flight Enco, I have no open items. Not getting a whole lot of high bit rate at this slant range, but PTC is continuing.
Okay. How about you, procedures?
Nothing here, Flight.
Anthony?
No, current Flight.
Anything we missed in going through all these quirks, funnies, procedures, all that jazz?
No, sir, I didn't see any. I think we've got all the things out of the anomaly log. I'll check them off.
Okay. FAL, how are you doing?
Flight, the only item we've got left that's been read up right now is that the crew's supposed to look at Bennett using the P-52 planet option, and that should be coming up shortly whenever they get to it.
Okay.
And once we get the information from that, then if it's possible, we'll try to look at Bennett again when they get ready to go back to PTC.
Roger.
Other than that, I think everything has been set up to them for the moving up of the familiarization period.
and all other updates. Okay, one thing I'd like from you about middle of the shift, I'd say around 52 hours or so, would be to review the lunar orbit photo plan based on the outputs of that magic meeting you had yesterday afternoon, I believe.
The meeting that they had the other day approved all the deletions that we did send up to the crew the other day.
Well, I'd like to go over those deletions to make sure I understand them all.
All right. We'll go over them later, Frank.
Network from Flight.
Flight Network.
Understand we've reserved the lines. What station's going to be pumping us TV here?
Goldstone Flight. We'll have the 2 10-foot dish for that also.
Okay, and you've got lines reserved for both 55 and 58 hours, right?
We've released them for 58 hours. We've just got them called up for 55 hours now.
Okay. Network, how's Honeysuckle doing? Still down?
Still down, Flight. We're shipping some more parts over there that should be there sometime tonight. But we don't expect to have Honeysuckle up for command capability tonight. We'll be using the 30-foot sights.
Okay. Recovery, how you doing in there?
It's fine, Flight. Been working with Retro on changing 60-hour aboard target point. We got that done this morning, I believe, and we're just sitting around waiting to see what that tropical storm's going to do to see if we have to change any more.
Okay, fine. Computer Soup, how you doing downstairs?
Flight, we're supporting with one machine and the other 3 operational.
Okay, one question. Last time I was on shift, I didn't see anything more on it in the log. You were having trouble with your spacecraft pointing display. It was giving you a computer interrupt when you were using the sun option. Is there any further word on that?
Let us check into it, Flight, and get back with you.
Raj, thank you. Okay, I think we've tagged up with just about everybody. Capcom, you down there? Capcom, Flight. Go ahead, Flight. One of the other items that was open in this initial LEM activation was, I believe, 4CB22, based on this Grumman single-point failure analysis. They wanted to open some circuit breaker. Last time we discussed it, that particular procedure had been vetoed. Is there any further action on that regard?
Negative, Flight. It stands that they are not going to open that record.
Okay.
Flight, computer soup?
No, computer soup.
Yes, we'll fix that problem with our operational procedure.
Okay. Thank you. Capcom, we got a control here.
He's here.
Is he on the loop there? Roger, he is. Is that Mr. Strimple?
Roger.
Let's see, I had something from you on my magic list here.
Flight Econ.
Go Econ.
I don't need to, but I'd like to make a cryo configuration change on the H2 tanks, but I'd like to discuss with you and Capcom if got a minute what a cryo plane really is.
Well, have you got a plan yet, or are you still trying to get baseline data?
No, we've observed 2 cycles on H2 tank 1. We're satisfied where the lower limit is now, and it looks safe. It looks like tank 1 auto, tank 2 off. Our sleep looks like a good one, but now we need to get the quantity balance in the right direction for sleep.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Si, I'll be back to you in just about 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Control from flight.
Go ahead.
Tell you what, if you can get together with the span people, why don't you give me about 15 more minutes, about 10 more minutes here, and let's go over the sheet procedures. In addition, I'd like to also find your rationale for not trimming the limb gimbals if you're going to make this burn. Trim them to the dock configuration.
Okay.
Okay, coming back to you now.
Flight Econ.
Okay, let's go, Si. Capcom, you on?
That's fine. Okay, then. We've been running H2 tank 1, H2 tank 1, heaters auto, tank 2 off. That's what we're running right now. We've established where the low point on tank 1 is, pressure-wise. And we've established it at 233.1 psi, which is way above the caution warning limit.
Okay, go a bit slower, Si, so I can write these numbers down. What did you establish your low point at?
233.1. We run 2 cycles.
232.1?
233.1. C&W limit is 224 and a half is what the limit is.
Okay, stand by 1. Okay, go ahead, Si.
Okay,
Okay, Houston, 13.
Stand by.
13 Houston, go ahead.
Okay, Joe, I got into P-52 about 49:34. We loaded the planet, or Comet vectors into the planet option. And P-52 tracked it all the way across, except that it was always occulted by the left, and we're at a roll angle of 155 now.
Roger, we're copying your roll angles. At what roll angle were you able to start tracking it, Jay?
Okay, at the time we entered it there, we were about 66 degrees roll. So either we started too late or maybe somehow we got a wrong calculation on the roll angle.
Okay, let me have GNC comment on that. I suspect that that the roll angles we gave you were calculated for exactly 90 degrees pitch, and you're probably wobbling enough that that they're not exactly correct.
Thank you, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I think you probably got the right idea.
Unit vectors were for a perfect rolling yarn beyond for 90 feet. So if he's out of it, he could get into a case where he's getting in there.
Okay. What do you want to do next, FAO? Want to try it again next time around?
This is Capcom. I guess if he has time to wait to stay in P52 until he cycles up to 45 degrees roll again and see what happens, he can do that.
Yeah, when are we scheduled to stop PTC here?
Oh, golly, not till 55 hours.
Is that right? Mike, this is FAO. Go ahead, FAO.
We're going to check into it and see if we can come up with some numbers that can take into account his present attitude. And if he is looking into the limb and he started at the beginning, then I would suggest he just terminate, which he's already done. And if we can come up with better numbers, we'll try again.
Okay, why don't you just tell him to terminate for the time being, Capcom. We'll look at it and see if we can come up with some better numbers considering the cone angle, the angle he's coning within.
Will do. 13 Houston, over.
Go ahead.
Okay, Jack, notice you've secured from that, and that was going to be our recommendation anyway. We're going to have the guys in the back room look at it and see if they can come up with some better numbers based on the cone angle that you're traveling through, whether there are any roll angles that are available to you. And if there are, and we have time, we might give it another try. If not, we just will forget it.
Okay.
Okay, Econ, let's continue with you.
Okay, flight. I'm trying to remember where the heck I was.
Okay, I'll summarize for you. You said at the present time you got H2 tank 1 heater auto, 2 off. You've watched 2 heater cycles on tank 1. You've fixed 233.1 as low point with 224.5 as the C&W limit.
Okay, now, this looks like a good configuration to go into for sleep, to avoid MC&Ws for low cryo pressure during sleep. But before we do this, we need to get the quantity in balance the right way. Presently, tank 1 is lower than tank 2. We want to get tank 1 higher than tank 2 by about 3%. So I want to reverse the configuration that we have right now. That is tank 1 heaters off and tank 2 heaters auto. So we use out of tank 2. Okay? And we ought to achieve this imbalance, which means we got to go through a total of about 5%. 10 hours from now, by our calculations.
Okay.
And that'll give us enough time to then switch over to the sleep configuration to observe it. Now, the only shortcoming of the plan is we're probably going to get several MC&Ws while we're balancing the quantities.
Okay, that's better get them now than during the sleep period.
Also, once we have achieved the balance the right way, the way I'd like it, or the imbalance, I should say, if it's far enough before sleep, if our calculations are off, probably go to auto in both tanks to maintain that imbalance.
Okay.
Okay? But I'll lay that on you. So right now, I'd like to switch configurations we have on the H2 tanks, and I'd like to go tank 1 heaters off, tank 2 heaters to auto.
Okay, copy all that, Capcom?
Yeah, I got it, Flight, and I'll pass it up. Apollo 13, Houston, over.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, Jack, I'd like to pass you a switch configuration on the Cryo O2 tank.
Don't sit down. They
Give you the
procedure
reason.
on...
Right now, we'd like you to go to heaters, tank 1 off, tank 2 auto, which is the opposite of the way you've got them now. Over. This is O2 and stand by for a minute.
That's H2, Capcom.
Excuse me, this is H2. Jack. H2.
Coming up on the switch here, Capcom. Copy that. Okay, Capcom, why don't you hold on till we get through the sound. Luke. Okay, take it now. Okay, thanks, bud.
Okay, Joe, do we have you back again?
Okay, Jack, we're getting you back, and yeah, I hope you copied my correction of my mistake. I'm talking about the H2 cryo units. We'd like the tank 1 heater off, tank 2 to auto, over.
Okay, we lost you again. Here's our heater configuration now. H2 heaters 1 off, 2 auto. Both O2 heaters are in auto.
Okay, that's the configuration we want you in, and here's what we're thinking about. When we went to tank 1 auto, tank 2 off, we found that the heater cycled at a tank 1 pressure of about 233 psi, which is well above the caution and warning limit. And if we go to that configuration for sleep, we'll keep from getting caution and warning lights during the sleep cycle. Okay, in order to do that comfortably, we want to spend the rest of the day using more H2 out of tank number 2 so as to get an unbalance in favor of tank 1, so at the end of the sleep cycle it'll all come out even. And that's why we have you in tank 1 off, tank 2 auto now. We expect to get about a 3% unbalance over the next 10 hours, and prior to sleep we'll call you to reverse the configuration again. Now the only disadvantage here is that during the day you will probably get a few caution and warnings, and we just figured it'd be better to get them now than while you were sacked out, over.
I'll buy that 100%.
Okay, good deal. One other detail for you, Jack. GNC tells us that the optics jitter is very similar to what we had on Apollo 12. It's no problem, but when you're not using the optics, we recommend that you turn the optics power switch to off to guard against a possible degradation as the flight progresses, over.
Okay, will do.
Okay, Apollo 13 Houston, I have one more little update for you, and it's another update to the erasable memory onboard crew charts on page G9-2, over.
Houston, 13, we're ready to copy.
Okay, Jim, these are gyro compensation terms. They've already been uplinked, and we're just updating your onboard charts now. In column A, number 11, change from 77646 to 00114. Number 12, change from 77332 to 77546. Number 13, change from 76617 to 77201. Over.
The changes are as follows, and all in column A, number 12. The new change is 77546. Number 11, the new change is 00114. And 13, the new change is 77201.
Roger, read back correct.
And Joe, do you know, are you going to try and let us spot the Bennett Comet on this next revolution here? Or do you want me to turn the optics power off now?
Stand by one, Jack.
We don't want him to try it now.
Okay, Jack. We don't have confidence in those roll angles yet. So why don't you turn the optics off, and we'll update you later.
Okay, going off now.
Roger.
AFT for flight.
Bad flight.
How about you taking it for a while? I want to go over all of these magic sheet procedures with all of the experts.
Okay.
Joe, you want to sit through this?
Yes, sir. We're having a handover in about 5 seconds, sir. Should go phone. Okay.
Go ahead, contact.
Right, so that was an IU handover instead of CSM. We don't hand over the CSM until 5015.
Okay.
5015. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Flight network.
Go ahead.
We're going to be handing over here in 15 minutes after. About 1 minute would be handed over site.
Okay.
control for flight. Go flight. Okay, I want you and Telemu to be standing by. Capcom is going to be reading up that page in the activation checklist to the crew shortly, and he's also going to summarize them for them, the evaluation criteria on the sheet.
Roger.
So you might stand by monitoring that thing, because I expect the crew will probably have a couple questions once we get down into this evaluation criteria.
Okay.
I may even slip over my tongue while I'm reading them up the rationale, so keep track. Apollo 13, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Roger, Jim, if you've got a couple minutes now, I'd like to read up to you the change to the LEM entry procedure that we'd like you to observe at 55 hours and the rationale for it. Over.
Okay, stand by.
Roger.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, before you start copying, this procedure is basically simply to activate the supercritical helium pressure gauging so that you can read it. And the concern here is lest this supercritical helium pressure reach 1800 psi by 103 hours, at which point we'd be within a possibility of rupturing the burst disc when you activate the dips. Now, based on the pressure at launch and based on a nominal rise time of about 6.5 psi per hour between then and now, the pressure should read about 710 psi.
Houston, you were cut out. Would you say again about the helium pressure?
Roger. Based on the pre-launch pressure in the she tank and the nominal rise time of about 6.5 psi per hour, the pressure should be about 710 at 55 hours. Reading over. Jim, Houston, did you read that last one?
Flight Inco. Go ahead, Inco.
Those are not Omni switches. We're having a possible data problem. We're checking.
Okay, Capcom, why don't you hold off for a second here until Inco gives us some kind of a clearance.
Will do.
Inco, you going to be able to give us anything better here?
Flight Inco, we're working on getting it back. We've got a problem with the wing side at Goldstone right now.
Okay.
I'll let you know when we have it back.
Roger.
Okay, Joe, I'm on Omni C now. How do you read?
13, Houston, you're loud and clear now. Inco tells me he's having a little problem at Goldstone and wants me to stand by for a minute.
Inco, did you copy that? He's an Omni
How do you
C.
read now, Joe? I'm going from Omni C to D now.
Caller on D.
You're still loud and clear on D, Fred. Stand by one. Can I go ahead and talk?
Okay, I'll put her back to Omni B if y'all want to take command again. And Co, what do you want to do here? You want to go back to B so you can regain command, and then what are you going to do? Give us D again?
Flight and go.
Go ahead.
We're coming up on Bravo.
We're coming up in Bravo.
Let me try to command that antenna.
Well, it's in D right now. I doubt if you can. And the last thing we heard, Joe, was that the Supercrit should be reached about 710 PSI.
Okay, that's the last thing I passed up, and while we're waiting for Inco to decide here, let me continue. The dead band that is considered acceptable is between 660 and 770 PSI. In other words, any rise time that'll give you a pressure between those two will keep you below the critical pressure at 103 hours or so. So we expect it to read in that band, and if it does, there'll be no problem. If it reads between 770 and 800 PSI, we will want you to check the pressure again at about 59 hours, and I'll get to detailed procedures in a minute. If the pressure is equal to or greater than 800 PSI, we're going to have to go into some more detailed procedures. We're going to try to get PCM data on it, for one thing. We may have to have you sit there and stare at the gauge for a while to find out when it clicks up and get an accurate rise time on it. And in an extreme case, we're even thinking about a dip burn, but we don't really think that'll happen. Now, if you're ready to copy, what I have for you is a change or an addition to the LEM activation checklist between pages TLC1 and TLC2, which consists of 7 steps. And if you can find a blank side there to write it down, and I'd like to pass it up. Over.
Inco, have you got command over the Omnis now?
That's affirmative, flight.
Okay, you're in what, Bravo now?
how do you read on
Omni C now?
Okay, you're loud and clear on Omni C. Stand by one while we get Inco synced up. He never went back from Omni B to D because we didn't tell him to.
Inco,
I commanded Omni Bravo.
you have commanded Omni Bravo.
Yeah, but he's in Omni Charlie.
Okay.
Anywhere between 660 and 770 PSI. If it's above 770, you're going to ask us to consider going back in at 59 hours and either get PCM going or sit there and give you gauge reading changes on the basis of time. And you said something about at an extreme measure, we may have to consider some sort of dips maneuver.
That's correct, Fred. We don't have procedures for that yet, and we don't have any real expectation of getting into it. The procedure I'd like to read up to you now is simply the steps required to get the supercritical helium pressure reading at 55 hours. Over.
Okay.
Okay, we're calling this page TLC1-A, Step 6. Transfer to LEM power.
Stand by one, Joe.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, he's ready to go.
Okay, Step 6. Transfer to LEM power, parenthesis, floodlights blink, caution warning power, caution light on. Report GET to MCC. panel 11, circuit breaker EPS, translunar bus tie, close. Circuit breaker panel 16, EPS, translunar bus tie, close. Circuit breaker panel 11, lighting, utility, close. And activate utility lights.
Go ahead, Enco.
Over.
Did you have him select Omni Bravo?
Roger. Capcom, have to select Omni Bravo, please.
And 13 Houston, select Omni Bravo, please.
He is selected to fly.
Raj. Okay, Capcom, continue.
Okay, Joe, I created a new page here called TLC1A, item 6, transfer to limb power. And the usual, check that the floodlights blink and I get the caution warning power light on. I get a GET from Jack and I'll pass that down to you. Item 7, circuit breakers, EPS, X-lunar bus tie, panels 11 and 16 close. Step 8, circuit breaker lighting, utility on panel 11, close and turn on the utility lights. However, if the lighting is such that I don't really need those, they're in storage right now, I guess, in the ISA, and I'll probably just leave them there.
Okay, that's optional. The way we have page TLC1A written, that was all part of step 6. You haven't even gotten to step 7 yet. Step 7 is as follows. Fred Houston, are you with me?
Right, so we've lost him for a minute. We'll check.
Okay. Hey, Joe, why don't you call up channel 26 and you can take a look at the Omnis and you can get some feel as to when you're going to lose comm and maybe you can pace your conversation with them a bit better.
No command CSN.
Apollo 13 Houston, are you reading me now?
Side problem. We're trying the prime side and Goldstone now.
Okay.
Great, Houston 13, how do you read?
13 Houston, loud and clear. What am I on now?
I'm going to stay Omni B if you want to take command back, and you can let it go.
Flight, I have command back, and he's on B.
B and D.
Raj, we
and how many steps we got so I know that the right big or small there, Joe?
Okay, we got step 6 through 12, but step 7 is the same size as 6, and 8 through 12 are short. They're only one line each.
Okay.
Okay, step 7 follows. Circuit breaker, panel 11, AC bus B, helium, PQGS, propellant display close. Circuit breaker 11 AC bus B, numeric lighting close. Circuit breaker 11 AC bus B, bus tie inverter 1 close. Circuit breaker panel 11 EPS, inverter 1 close. Circuit breaker panel 16, instrumentation, SIG sensor close. Inverter 1.
Hold on, Joe.
Okay.
My start hand is rather poor today. Okay, I'm now up to circuit breaker panel 11, inverter 1 closed.
Okay, the next was circuit breaker panel 16, instrumentation, SIG sensor close. Then inverter 1 select. Then helium monitor to
We're going to have an omni switch.
Supercrit press.
Calling flight again.
Roger, we're going to have an omni switch.
Okay.
Report Supercrit press.
Capcom, we're coming up in an omni switch now. Echo, let me know when we're clear to commence again.
Flight info, I got the command in, it'll be a minute.
Okay. Enco, can we continue?
Houston,
13 Houston, you're coming through. We still have some background noise. Do you want to read back step 7?
Okay, Houston, 13.
13 Houston, go ahead.
Okay, Joe, the last thing I got was helium monitor to supercrit pressure.
Okay, and the last part of step 7 is report supercrit pressure to MCC. And read back step 7.
Okay, step 7, circuit breaker panel 11 AC bus B, helium PQGS display closed. Same circuit breaker panel 11 AC bus B, numeric lighting closed. CB panel 11 AC bus, is that AC bus B, bus tie inverter 1 closed?
That's affirmative.
And CB EPS inverter 1 panel 11 closed.
CB panel 16, instrument signal sensor closed. Inverter 1 select. Helium monitor to supercritical pressure. Report pressure dimensions.
Okay, that's correct. Now, step 8 is on MCC request, perform step 9. In other words, you wait for us to decide what to do, and that's according to the gouge we've already given you. And step 9 I'll give you now is helium monitor to off, inverter to off. Over.
Okay, step 8 says set in an MCC hold. Step 9 says on MCC's words, helium monitor off, inverter off.
Roger, that's correct. Step 10 is configure circuit breaker panels per activation 3 and 4.
Okay, configure, step 10, configure circuit breakers per activation pages 3 and 4.
Roger, that's correct. Step 11 is deactivate the utility lights if you activated them. And step 12, which is the last one, is transfer to CSM power, usual observations, and report time to MCC.
Okay, step 11, deactivate utility lights. 12, transfer to CSM power, note usual observations, and report to GT.
Okay, that's it. And of course, Houston will be requesting you to go to step 9 if the pressure is less than 770. If the pressure is between 770 and 800, we will be asking you to do the following if you're ready to copy.
Stand by. Gotta find some more blank paper.
Yeah, this is going to be page TLC-3, but it's very short.
Okay, go ahead with TLC-3.
Okay, stand by 10 seconds, Fred. Fred, Houston.
Go ahead.
Roger, we'll hold off on that. It was a short 3-step procedure which said repeat activation pages 1, 1A, and 2, but there was another step in it that nobody understands. So essentially what we'd recommend in that case would be that you repeat the procedure we just passed up for reading the supercrit pressure. And if we need to, we'll clarify it later on. And that's all we got.
Yep. Okay.
Control.
Go control.
Hey, did we decide not to read up the procedure now to obtain low bit rate TM if we needed it?
No, I think that particular one is so long and so complicated, the best thing to do would be to talk them through it.
Okay.
Capcom, did you copy that?
Negative, Flight.
Joe, they got a rather long, involved procedure to bring up TM that I don't think we ought to uplink to the crew, primarily because I expect it's going to be unnecessary to bring up TM. And if we do bring up TM, I think that the best thing to do would be to read them up and talk them through that thing in real time.
Concur.
Echo, flight.
Flight income.
Did you ever determine whether you did have a problem out at Goldstone?
No, network hasn't come back to me on the report yet. It was the wing side, we're on the prime side now. They're checking.
Flight network. Yeah, we don't have a good handle on the problem yet, but they declared their wing antenna red and gave us an ETO of 30 minutes.
Okay.
So we now have the prime side on both vehicles.
Houston 13.
13 Houston, go ahead. 13 Houston, go ahead.
Okay, one thing, Joe, just want to double check again. All the stuff that normally was going to start at 57 hours, which the first item was pressurized CSM to 5.7 psi. We're going to move that up to 54 now, so we have our limp entry, which was nominally at 58 at 55. Is that correct?
That's correct, Jim.
Okay.
Flight FAO. Go FAO. I'd like to take 5. Go. Capcom's in flight. And Ecom's in flight.
Go ahead, Flight.
I don't think we've passed them up the fact that we wanted to stir cryos about this time yet, have we?
No, we were just fighting about that.
Okay.
Yeah, what I said to Ecom was that if he'd nudge Capcom whenever he wants it done, I'll give a brief explanation to the crew this time, and then it's all yours.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flight telling you.
Go tell him here.
Be advised that if we've got this LEM equipment fired up for better than 15 minutes or so, we're going to want to turn on glycol pump 2.
I don't think it'll be up that long, but you can nudge me and make sure you got the procedures handy.
Right, we don't expect to be up that long either. It's just a matter of pushing in one circuit breaker.
Okay.
flight econ. Go ahead. Listen, I want to amend the extra stir business to stir all cryos for these additional periods a couple extra times, because we are trying to follow the quantities in the H2 tanks too accurately.
Okay.
It'd make it a lot simpler. Just stir the cryos at those additional times.
Okay. And Joe, have we passed that up yet?
Negative flight, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
Apollo 13, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Roger, 13. Because of the O2 Tank 2 quantity sensor dropout, ECOM wants to keep a little closer track of the cryo quantities, and he's going to be asking you to stir all the cryo tanks at slightly more frequent intervals than have been planned. And the first time is now, and we'll be calling you probably every 5 or 6 hours, except during sleep periods and high activity periods. We'd like you to do it now, over.
Okay, we'll start a cryo stir now.
Thank you.
Flight network. Got network. Okay, Goldstone wing antenna is green now, and we'll be heading back over to CSM2 here as soon as INCO's ready.
And 13 Houston, for your information, a normal 1 minute or so stir will be.
Capcom, contact my list.
Go ahead.
All right, so we're going to have a handover at 5111. About a minute and a half.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Flight network. Go network. Goldstone wing has gone red again. We're going to keep the CSM on Goldstone Prime, and we'll hand the IU back to Madrid.
What's the problem out there?
Well,
Idea what the problem is?
no, we don't have any specifics. Other they've been having trouble with the high winds out there, and it's putting a stress on the system.
Okay.
Capcom, contact Milo.
Go ahead.
With all this going around, I didn't know what's coming off. You can go ahead and talk to the spacecraft if you want to now, sir. We have them in good.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Procedures for flight. Go ahead, flight. Let me ask you a question. How long are they retaining the CSM tapes on the site?
Okay, we went through this yesterday. We're on a checkpoint right now, by the way, flight. 24 hours.
When did that come about, and did we agree to that?
It's been put in the NOD. We circulated the NOD around all the different sections and didn't have any comeback on that particular item.
Okay, but occasionally we make mistakes.
Right.
Did we ever give any formal agreement to that thing, just out of curiosity? In other words, negative. Did we ever give a positive statement that we agreed to that, as opposed to a negative?
We agreed with it in the various meetings that we had with in the NOD reviews, both in the basics and the supplements. And we have, as far as the LEM is concerned, we're keeping that on site for 48 hours from LOI to TEI. We felt at the time that within 24 hours we should have a pretty good hack on whether we need a playback or not.
Yeah, but
during non-critical phases.
Yeah, but even during any time in the mission, I think that's somewhat of a premature judgment, and I think Arnie agrees with me here. Why do we gotta? I guess I'll have to ask the network this, or it's a good question for the FISMR. Why we gotta get the tapes in from the site so quick? Why do we have to send them off within 24 hours?
It's an ASPO requirement. We've been working for several missions. In fact, this is pretty much the way it was set up for 12 also, so that we wouldn't have to make two sets of tapes at the site and be able to meet ASPO and flight control requirements. So, flight control people have agreed that yes, they would be able to tell within 24 hours if they needed to play back, and ASPO has agreed that if we need to play back, we can hold that data on site until we're through with it, and then ship it. It doesn't have to be shipped within 24 hours.
Okay, we'll talk to ASPO on that. I really think we ought to change that procedure next time around, though. I think that if we get to the point where data's that we need that has been recorded from the spacecraft at a site is en route to Houston, we're in deep trouble if we ever need that. And that, if I remember right, has bit us in a couple previous missions. I think Apollo 9 was one of them.
Flight telling you.
Don't tell them yet.
I'd like to take 2 foot.
Okay. Ecom from flight. Ecom from flight. FAO from flight.
No flight.
You come up with any brilliant ideas in the Comet Bennett photography?
Flight, we had GNC checking to see if there's any time during the coning angle that we'll get back to 9 degrees pitch and 0 yaw or close to it to try. If we don't ever hit some number near that, we'll have to just give up trying to locate a good spot to look at it and pick a point in the expected area that we can see it and try that at 5630.
Okay.
If we don't get it, then we'll just give up.
Well, your opportunities are going to be better during TEC anyway, aren't they? The transverse phase?
Right. The comet's farther from the sun, but it's also dimmer. And that's one reason the dimness of it is why they wanted to try and get it on the coast.
Okay.
But
we'll keep trying. FD, you want to take it for a minute?
Roger that, fine.
Telcom from flight.
Go ahead, flight.
Okay, earlier in the day you said that when we go through this activation procedure, if we're up more than about 15 minutes, you want us to bring up a glycol pump. Do you want to tell us how to do it? And are you going to be keeping track of the time?
Raj, I'll be keeping track of the time, and I plan to time it from the point at which they report the pressure to us. And the procedure to get the pump going is to push in the glycol pump 2 circuit breaker on panel 11. That's all.
Glycol pump number 2, circuit breaker. That's for panel 11.
Roger.
Okay. Info from flight.
Flight info.
Once we get into LEM, if we have to bring up LEM TM, would you make a copy of that procedure for bringing it up and give it to Capcom so we can review it, please?
Roger, flight. Flight info.
Go info.
I think Capcom already has a copy of that.
Econ from flight.
Flight Econ.
How's your cryo tank unbalancing going?
I don't think I can tell you too much now, Flight. It's not changed that much.
Gee whiz, we've been going a couple hours on it now.
I'll get a readout for you, Flight. It was going on a slow side.
Let me ask you a question just to make sure I'm clear on it. You want to get tank 1 about 3% higher, don't you?
Then tank 2.
Then tank 2.
That's for
okay.
And what Flight Econ?
Go ahead.
What we're anticipating is a quarter of a percent per hour, and the indications are we did see that kind of thing already.
Okay.
So.
Span from flight.
This Span, go ahead.
Hey, Bill. Have those Grumman guys come back so they can show me the curves where they made all these assumptions and these pressures?
No, they're still out in the meeting. Joe Roach and everybody's still in that meeting.
Okay, when they get back, will you have them give me a yell? I'd like to go over all that stuff with them.
Roger.
Flight Econ.
Go Econ.
Tank 2 is showing a slight downward trend in quantity.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, is Jack there, please?
He's here, but he's sleeping. Who's this, please?
Oh, this is Vance.
Oh, hi, Dan. Well, you didn't sound like yourself. He didn't get back here until about 2:30 or 3, and he went to bed. Is it important?
Not too. I just had something I wanted to mention to him about kind of pre-briefing for tonight. When he wakes up, you might have him call.
Okay, you're right over there now, isn't that right? He follows you, doesn't he?
Yeah, 5610. It might be nice if he got here about 15 minutes early. I just wanted to tell him why.
5610?
Yeah.
All right. 15 minutes early. All right.
Okay.
See, he was supposed to come at 8. Wasn't that the time?
Well, yeah, he's supposed to come at 8.
Okay.
And
Flight Econ. We're getting pretty close to MCW on tank 1.
He calls in.
Okay.
I'll have him just
Roger. Capcom from flight.
Thanks. Bye.
Go. Why don't you advise the crew that we're coming close to an MC&W H2 tank 1 and just tell them to...
That's just a cryo pressure light flight.
Just advise them so they won't be surprised when they get it.
Okay. Apollo 13, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Jim, just advisory, expected caution and warning on H2 tank 1. Pretty quick, no problem, just warning you about it.
Okay, Cryo pressure light on H2 tank 1 coming on shortly, huh?
Right.
Okay. Well, you're pretty close. It just came on.
Any other predictions you'd like?
Well, I guess there's all sorts. Did you go to the horse races with me?
I'm sorry you were garbled. Say again.
I said I'd like to invite you to the horse races with me.
Right. We'll send Ecom.
Oh, John Younger.
Your wig, say again?
This is John Younger. Is this Vance?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Deke here. Hey, what's the deal on this damn helium tank thing? I hadn't heard about that.
Well, Deke, it's just a thing that
That's
last
pretty
week we had
lucky
an anomaly
there,
on the helium tank. The heat leak was a little greater than expected.
Excuse me, that's pretty skillful.
And just a second, let me cut out the other conversation. Well, anyhow...
This isn't that sheet tank thing on the limb we've been screwing around.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
And all I want to do is
Yeah, I'm familiar with...
a little earlier.
Okay, I'm familiar with that whole subject. I thought... I just heard your comments to Jim here that they expect to see the warning light come on here shortly.
Oh, that was a hydrogen tank.
A hydrogen? Oh.
Yeah, and that's just really a balancing problem right now.
I see.
Fan heating out here right now.
It's just a custom of the Ecom to try
Can I
to
help you?
warn before caution warning lights come on.
I got you. Okay, good enough. I thought there's something new to come up here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Flight Econ.
Go Econ.
We're going to put the quantity business up on channel 58 for you. You can look at it anytime.
Okie-dokie. How are your fuel cell Dollar V plots looking, Econ? All happy and all that jazz? Do you still plot that stuff?
Well, that's affirmative flight. They're looking good. The purges really don't show much effect.
How'd this last waltz? How'd the cryo stir? Did that do anything for you?
No, we didn't see much change. So maybe we won't have to do it quite that often.
Okay.
That's good if we don't see much change when they stir.
Okay. Fido, fly. Yeah. Is that maneuver you got on DMT number 1, is that LOI now?
I hesitate to say that's a LOI off the current trajectory flight. I didn't really take much time with it. It was just to get some rough data for PAL.
How's mid-course 4 looking?
Anywhere between 3.6 and 0 flight, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
What I've been doing now, and I've been doing it for 2 hours with very little success, is trying to figure out if we did have to do this dips blurb, or whatever we call it now, where we point it. And it's a very interesting problem, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Since we're almost perfect, it's very difficult to just hose away fuel in space. Turns out, 'cause it's bothering us one way or the other, no matter which way we do it. So we're trying to optimize all that. And I'd hope to have a plan for you in a couple hours.
Flight retro.
Go retro.
While you were away from the console a moment ago, I left you a summary.
Yes, I got it.
Status summary.
Roger.
We'll do that every shift from now on, flight.
Roger. Control from flight.
Go ahead.
Have you guys got the detailed procedures worked out now for this dips burn if we'd have to make it?
I've heard that they've got them back there and they're reviewing it with Arabian's people. I haven't heard the outcome yet.
Okay. As soon as they finish all that stuff, I'd like to go over it with you.
Roger.
Now it's time for a little grits again here, Vance.
Understand some grits, huh? Ciao. Bon appetit.
Slayton's office, this is Sims.
Hello, is he there, please?
May I say who's calling?
Yeah, it's Vance Brand.
1 moment, please.
Hey, Vance.
Deke, I think maybe I owe you a little more of an explanation on this hydrogen thing, so you'll understand it better when this caution and warning keeps reoccurring.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they have a transducer in the hydrogen 1 tank that's slipped its calibration, and it's done this on previous flights, and I think it's probably an effect of the coldness of the hydrogen. Well, because this happens, this means that the pressure which trips the heater on is very close now to the caution and warning trip point. And so what we're doing is we're using 1 tank in the nighttime and the other tank in the daytime. The rationale being that the tank that's giving us a problem we'll use in the daytime, and it'll keep tripping the caution and warning and disturb everybody. And the other tank that doesn't give us a problem we use at night, so that wake anyone.
We're recycling the CPs. They went down with an exact buffer depletion.
With a what?
That's about it in a nutshell.
Executive buffers.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
Okay, good enough. I misunderstood.
depletion, and that's
I
what
thought
you're
you said
doing.
helium instead of hydrogen. And I knew we had the helium thing with the LEM, and I didn't know what the hell this could be in the CSM. So.
Right.
Okay. Real fine. Thank you, Vance. Right on. Bye.
flight network, the CP's up.
Flight Fighter.
Go Fido.
Got some updated numbers on S4B impact.
Okie dokie.
C is 2.55 south.
2.55 south, which is
2 degrees, 33 minutes.
Oh, God, yes, that's right.
Lambda is...
Stand by. Let me write it in degrees per minute.
Okay. 2 degrees, 33 minutes south.
Okay.
Lambda is 28 degrees, 18 minutes west. And the GET of impact is 7756.45.
Okay. Thank you.
Roger.
Roger.
Flight Econ.
Econ.
We are charging battery B.
Rog. Per the flight plan.
Mm-hmm. Would have been nice to have gotten a reminder from the crew they were going to do it.
I'm sure they will in the future. I assume you got your initial charging current, right? Econ?
Yeah, just barely flying.
What do you mean, just?
We got it. We were watching for it.
Okay.
Flight Fighter.
Go Fido.
I can tell you my plan on this ditch thing if you're interested.
Sure.
What we tried to do is, assuming that we would not need a mid-course bore, is figure out a direction that we could just waste the Delta V in and not bother LOI. And it just turns out we can't find one. So, essentially what we did is to target the mid-course processor to keep everything just perfect, but force us into what we, I guess you'd call it like a mid-course 3. and to let it do the thinking for us. And it came up with a mid-course, the numbers from control would be of about 1.2 foot per second, which corresponds to a 5-second dips type burn here at 10% with the 7-second foliage that the Simmons is capable of giving. Essentially, it just slows us down a little bit more, gets us to the moon maybe 15 seconds later or something like that. And I think that would probably be the best way to go, but I don't believe that it'd be, it's not the right thing to do, but there's nothing that's right.
Roger, copy. That's at 60 hours elapsed, right?
Right. And I can't say if it increases or decreases the chances of doing mid-course forward. Probably just has no effect.
Do you want to take it a bit here?
Roger, fine.
Flight GNC.
Go GNC.
I have the MCC2 strip charts anytime you'd like to see them.
Okay, why don't you let me finish eating here and I'll take a look. Ecom's in flight.
Flight econ.
Raj. Was he building up pressure in the limb or something? I saw a high O2 flow up around 0.9 that's very gradually.
Well, you probably saw that at 40 minutes after the hour, which would be an accumulator cycle.
Okay. That's what it looks like, huh?
Yeah, the CT time every 10 minutes, of course, would be an accumulator cycle.
What's the normal flow rate for a accumulator cycle?
Pegged 0.955 on the curve.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Right. Flight econ. Go ahead. We're getting to that MCW period again. I guess you can just let them have it. H2 tank 1.
Tom, calling if they can expect another MC, buddy.
On Roger's impression.
Okay, you want to tell them, huh? Oh, 13 years. All right, just expect that same caution and warning to come on again. And you want us to keep warning you of that thing? Go ahead.
Roger, Jim. Just expect the caution warning to come on again, the same as it did about an hour ago.
Flight info. Capcom may not be able to reach him now. We're in the middle of an office switch.
We lost Captain on the phone.
Roger, how are you reading me now, Jim?
Houston, Apollo 13.
13, Houston, how do you read now?
Okay, we can good now. It seems like we have a little trouble with our comm today.
Yeah, I guess partly because you're further out.
Here's the MCW.
We just wanted to tell you that you were going to get that caution warning that you just got.
Right, we just got it.
And I won't bother you with those calls anymore unless you especially want them.
Oh, that's okay, man. You don't have to call us about that unless it's something serious.
Okay.
I copy that, Flight.
Go ahead, Mike.
We just ate a can of ham salad, and that was an experience.
Raj, copy.
It's really kind of like eating on the fly, tasting it around.
Right, copy.
But good.
Go ahead.
Wanted to pass on the word. We decided to give up trying to find a finish line of all the CPC. We tried several times to disappoint. Yes, when they're going to be in a good attitude as possible. Every time we try and guess or miss. So what we suggest doing, we're just going to wait until we're ready for CPC.
You're off a week, Dave.
Is that better?
Try it again.
Okay, is that any better? Is that better, Clyde?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, we've tried to pick a time when we could look at the Bennett comet using a CTC technique, and we haven't been able to come up with a solution that we could predict in advance where we wanted to be to look for it. So what we recommend doing is just telling the crew that we're not going to try anymore before this limb familiarization, and then when they get ready to set up PTC after the familiarization pass, we'll give them the best roll angle that we think is possible to get it and have them look. If they can see the comet, go ahead and set up and take the photos. If not, just forget it for your transmitter post.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Flight span.
No span.
Hey, Gene, I don't know whether those guys showed up out there or not, but they haven't come back, but I haven't forgot you yet.
Thank you.
Houston, that's beautiful. This has got to be one of the most proud moments of my life, I guarantee you.